Hi there, it's Marzena. The day has finally come. It's time for the long-awaited Q&A video. It's a little bit late, but better late than never, I guess. Anyway, before we start with the questions, I don't think that my avatar should be the one who does the talking today. So... smoke bomb! Once again, hi there, it's Marzena. First of all, I want to say sorry if I will sound or look a little bit awkward today. Talking to a camera is not something that happens to me every day. It never happens, to be honest. Just recording my voice for the voiceover is a huge step out of my comfort zone. And this here, it's a gold medal worthy jump out of it. I do not talk to myself in a mirror, so seeing my facial muscles working while I'm talking is something quite weird for me. But even though the camera makes me horrendously anxious, I decided that over 130,000 subscribers of my channel deserve to know the face behind those charismatic thumbs. If you follow me on Instagram, seeing me shouldn't surprise you. But you know, photos and few-second-long videos with Instagram filters and talking to a camera for half an hour, completely different things. Anyway, this video was supposed to be a 100,000 subscribers celebration, but reaching this milestone caught me off guard with a lot of other things going on. And here we are, half year later, more or less. Story of my life. But since we are finally here, let's check out those questions. In my center video, I asked you to leave the questions that you may have for me under my pinned down comment. And you left over 300 of them. I don't think we will have time to answer all of them, but we will see. I organized them a little so the video won't be too chaotic. So, from the beginning. Let's start with the questions about my artistic background. When I was just 9 years old, I decided that when I grow up, I want to be a special effect makeup artist. I wanted to make zombies, creepy looking alien monsters, guts and blood all over the place. I was such a sweet kid. Since then, my dream job was to work in a theater, and I set up my whole life to achieve that. Yes, I was 9. So I got a degree in cosmetology, then I got my diploma as a special effect makeup artist, and then I got my dream job at the theater in Lublin. Let me just say this. Sometimes dreams look better in your head than in reality. It was fun, my coworkers were great, but I was a little bit bored. There is not that much time for elaborate special effects in theater as there is in a movie industry. So I quit and I started working as a self-employed photographer and makeup artist. Majority of my photo shoots were kept in a fantasy, magical, fairy tale or horror style. And I was doing photos, makeup, hair, costumes, editing, all by myself. I also dipped my toe in the cosplay world. So even though I was never really good at sculpting or drawing, I do have an undeniable experience in arts and crafts. And I am sure that it helped me tons with doll customization. So how did I went from photography and makeup to doll customization? More than a decade ago, I found out about BJDs that I really wanted to get one for myself. I was never a collector type, so it wasn't just to get the doll itself, but I thought it would be great for sewing practice. I was a hobbyist photographer at that time, and I was in love with Kirsty Mitchell's art, with all the magical, whimsical outfits and props that she was making by herself. I wanted to learn how to sew without wasting too much fabrics because fabrics are expensive. As I said, it was over a decade ago and it wasn't that easy to get a BJD here in Poland. So me being me, I figured out that I could make one by myself. There wasn't that many tutorials about it back then on the internet, but I was devouring every inch of information that I could find. Of course, I shared my excitement with the guy I was dating at that time. And he said that he thinks it's a dumb idea and I should stick to the hobby that I was already good at, which was photography. So I just forgot about it. Years later, I wanted to make a wig for a photo shoot. But not just a wig, a proper wig, with hand-woven hair and such. So I was searching YouTube for the tutorial about sewing a wig cap. I didn't find what I was looking for, but I stumbled upon Mosakito's tutorials about doll wig making. And suddenly I found myself binge-watching every single doll customization video I could find. It was fascinating that I could make my own doll without high level of sculpting skills or expensive equipment like oven for porcelain baking. And at that moment I was more into practicing sculpting than sewing. Haven't learned shit from my past, so I asked my new partner what he thinks about me trying this weird new hobby out. I wasn't asking for permission, just to be clear. No, I just wanted to share my excitement with someone I care about. What he said was, "Hell yeah, looks cool, try it out. I bet you will be great at it." Yeah, he's my husband now, no surprises there. Okay, so I was hooked and I started gathering all the materials and dolls, but I wasn't done there. I also wanted to record the process and create a YouTube channel as some sort of a chronicle of my progress with this hobby. It was supposed to be a hardcore exercise of stepping out of my comfort bubble. Because even having just my hands and my voice on a record was stressing me out like crazy. There are still a lot of people who thinks that my channel is called Catmeleon. I thought that the cat catching a fly with its tongue in the intro, my logo and the chameleon on my avatar's head would be enough hints. But for all of you that keep misreading it, no shame, those things happen. The name is Catmeleon. So why the Catmeleon Studio? I opened my business like 10 years ago and this was the name that I came up with. I was a happy caretaker of a pretty boy chameleon and I love cats more than anything. I had like 6 or 7 of them back then at my family house. So I just combined the two, cat and chameleon. Besides, chameleon is a great image whatsoever when you think about makeup and how it can change a person's appearance. So even though I closed my business and my channel has nothing to do with makeup nor photography, I kept the name and the logo because I just like them. Why do I prefer figurines over articulated dolls? From all the doll customizing channels that I've watched, Earth to Lila's videos definitely have had the biggest impact on me. And I wanted to do more sculpting than sewing, so her figurines just spoke to me. It is a personal preference and my own artistic choice. I do not think that one way of customizing is superior over the other one. I just like the fact that with doll figurines, I have a way more freedom with posing them. Sounds weird? Like how choosing just one pose can be more freeing than changing the pose every now and then. Well, I can modify the doll however I want without worrying about the joint's mobility. I can almost levitate my doll. I can bend the spine to any side and don't worry about it looking weird when the pose change to a different one. And I am more into putting a dope looking figurine on my shelf than a dope looking doll. Just a personal preference. Let's see. Yep, I made my witch doctor project in November 2020. I have never made a single doll custom outside of my channel, not even a single face-up practice. The main premise of the whole channel is to record my entire doll customizing journey, so all of you can follow my progress and witness all of my experience gain. This is why I keep the numbers in my thumbnails. I noticed in your studio tour video that you used to make costumes. So if you know how to sew, why are your dolls always naked? First of all, how dare you? Not always. But seriously, I have never learned how to sew. My cosplays never needed that, and my photoshoot outfits were quite simple and full of imperfections. But I was the one with the camera and Photoshop, so I could hide all the no-nos in the final pic. And even if I wear a great seamstress, it wouldn't really help me with dressing up figurines, I think. To dress up a stiff figurine, sculpting skills are more desirable for me than sewing ones. Why do you like to shrink heads? Getting a little bit more natural proportions is the main thing here. But there are also some other pros. Like for example, shrunken head becomes quite hard, and the squishiness of the regular head is something that can make your sculpting or painting on the face chip off. So with those shrunken heads, it's in fact safer to customize your doll. Takes more time for sure, but for me, there's no turning back. I just love head shrinking. What's your average number of references and inspirations per creation? 0? I actually do a reverse inspiration or anti-inspiration search before I start any project. Whenever I have an idea for a concept, I run it through Google to see what already have been done design-wise and to avoid it. It is of course easier with more unique concepts like for example a cactus fairy, and way more challenging when it comes to classics like a red-skinned demon girl or a cherub. But I always at least try to come up with something fresh and bring you something new. Of course, if I'm basing my doll on something that already exists, like an actual animal or an already existing character, I will use references for accuracy with anatomy or color schemes, but those will be just like 1 or 2 pictures. Why don't you make a video making a doll with ideas from your subscribers? Oh, I've made it already. My bone fairy, my bumblebee fairy, and my spider lady were the concepts suggested by my viewers. If you are asking about me making an exact design that someone else came up with, I have so many ideas of my own. I have a schedule for the whole year and still plenty of unscheduled projects just waiting in my sketchbook. Still coming up with new ones, and I am really hyped to show them to you. Coming up with a character design is one of my favorite part of the project, and I am just not ready to rob myself of it. Do you keep up with the trends of the YouTube doll modification community, or do you try to stay away from it? I guess I just don't really care about trends. If I want to do something, I will because I have a good idea for it. If I don't feel something or I don't have a clear vision for it, I just won't do it. I create in a specific genre, which is fantasy anyway, so a lot of new trends on YouTube or TikTok, I don't even have TikTok, just don't resonate with me or my style. Why are you so good? Aw, thank you. Well, I met this guy and he asked me, do you want to be good at doll customizing? So I was like, hell yeah, sign me up. And he said, well, yes and no. It is you who need to sign. Here on this yellow piece of paper. With your blood. Of course I did it, and after that I practiced and practiced and practiced and practiced, and I am still practicing. Do you think you will stop doll customization? If so, why? I hope not. Maybe if I ran out of base dolls that I like, I will start sculpting my figurines from scratch. But I do love the before and after aspect of doll customization, so I hope it won't happen. Have you ever had to scrap the doll project? Nope. I never gave up on any of my projects. Whatever I started, I will finish it. I do have some prep dolls that have their heads shrunken, but their projects needed to be postponed for such or such reason. But I haven't really started working on them yet. They are just prepared for the customization and waiting. Their projects will come, but a little bit later than I originally anticipated. What do you do if you don't like the pose of the doll when you finish it? I spend a good amount of time deciding on the final pose, no matter if they are simple or more elaborate ones. But I guess you could always cut the doll into pieces once again and redo the body in a different pose. Do you have separate studio or do you create at home? I am a very lazy person and my work schedule is just a mess, so even if I could afford renting a studio, I probably wouldn't do that. But I do have my own workshop room in our apartment. And this additional room was prioritized by me when we were looking for an apartment to buy. Do you have certain concepts you want to create but feel like YouTube wouldn't let you upload a video with those concepts? Well, YouTube policy is becoming more and more prude, so who knows what kind of restrictions will they come up with in the future. But for now, no. I am not really that controversial. I wouldn't mind dolls with uncovered boobs, but I also don't have a big problems with working around it. And showing genitals on photos, sculptures, or drawings was never really my thing. For now, YouTube also don't have a problem with gore, so I am safe. At least for now. Is there a doll project you want to do but are hesitant about it for any reason? Yes. Have you ever customized or tried a non-humanoid doll? No, and I do not have any interest in customizing such dolls at the moment. Why you give the doll's hair instead of sculpting it? Is it a style choice or is it something else? Yarn is just such a cooperative material for hairstyling, and I do not trust my sculpting skills that much yet. Would you do a quick tour of all the tools that you use? All the tools? Trust me, it wouldn't be quick. A workshop walk around. It needs a little update, but in fact I've already made a workshop tour video. So I recommend you check it out. How many bottles of MSC do you go through for one project? How was MSC been working for you overall, and how has it held over time? Between half and a can. Depends on the project. And I have no complaints about it whatsoever. For anyone who doesn't know what MSC is, it is short for Mr. Super Clear. And it's the most popular matte varnish used by doll customizers. You use it to prepare the face or body surface for pastels and pencils, and to seal your progress during the face-up or body blushing process, and to preserve your final results. How many different doll projects do you work on at the same time? I usually prepare up to 3 dolls for head shrinking because the process takes long. But I actually only work on one full project at a time. One project and 3 preparations footage is the max I can squeeze on the hard drive of my computer. Can we see a photo of side-by-sides with the different dolls? I would really love to see the B dolls next to each other. Sure, here you go. This photo was also included in the last video from the series, the Hornet Fairy video. What do you do in the meantime while the head is being shrunk? I shrunk my heads in advance. So I usually have a project that I'm working on already on my workbench during this time. So I don't have to actually wait for the heads. Would you consider redoing your witch doctor with all the new skills and techniques you have learned? Maybe not redoing the actual doll, but repeating the concept with a slightly different design? Maybe I will do that in the future. Do you have any regrets with dolls after making them? I am always quite open about all the things that I like or dislike about each of my dolls. And I talk about those things at the end of each video. But those are just small things. I'm trying to think through my designs well, so I won't have big regrets at the end. Have you ever had a failed doll customization? Not in my opinion. I might not be happy with my older dolls now because my skills and my style evolved. But I never stopped working on a doll until I was happy with it. How long does it take for you to customize a doll? Depends on the project. Without counting the head shrinking, between 1 and 3 weeks maybe. But I do have a second job, so not every day is a full workshop day for me. What's your favorite/least favorite part about doll customization? Favorite part? Creating a character design and face up. Duh. Least favorite? Everything that has something to do with sanding. And I also hate working with hair. No, I do not sell any of my dolls. But I am not ruling out the possibility. There are a few reasons why I do not sell for now. First of all, taxes. I do not own a registered business anymore, and your freedom of selling stuff without one is vastly restricted in Poland. Second, the shipping. Those are very fragile figurines, and I can't really lay them flat and secure them with bubble wrap. So first I would have to figure out the best way to ship them safely. And third, I am just not ready to part with most of them. So what do I do with all my finished figurines then? Usually my mom grabs them. Some I gave out as gifts, and some are still with me, displayed on a bookshelf in our living room or here in my glass cabinet. I do not take commissions, nor am I interested in changing that ever. I value my freedom of choice when it comes to concepts and designs too much. I really do like this arrangement where I'm creating whatever I want and just show it to people for their enjoyment. Doing commissioned work kinda led to my burnout in photography, and I just really don't want it to happen with this new passion of mine. When you think about it, I don't even make dolls based on the existing characters that much. Gosh, that was, I think, the most popular question. And I have to disappoint all of you because my answer is I do not have my favorite project that I've done. I like the newer pieces more than my older ones because I'm more skilled now. But I enjoyed all the processes equally. I find inspiration in a lot of things. I am that type of person that will sit on the toilet, look at the pattern on the wall and come up with the concept for a character with the whole design and stuff. I like to think that I have a pretty wild imagination, which I think is essential if you want to create your own characters, stories, not to mention whole worlds. But I also believe that it is something that you can train. Since I was a kid, I loved reading books. I still do. I still watch tons of cartoons and play video games. I enjoy fantasy and horror genres the most. And it all has the roots in my childhood. I was like 5 or 6 when I first saw the works of Boris Vallejo in an art book that my parents owned. I still have this book. His art was so realistic looking, and yet the worlds that he was painting were so fantastical and dreamy. I was obsessed with his skills. Not to mention that the women that he portrayed were so beautiful. I never looked like them, I knew I never would, but that didn't matter. Those sketches and paintings, and after then the art of Dorian Clevenger and Luis Royo, established my aesthetic and how I want my characters to look like. Dreamy, dark, fantastical, just beautiful. So I'm trying to develop the skills that will help me with that. Nowadays I find Instagram a great source of inspiration. My feed is filled with paintings, photos, minis, dioramas, cosplays, makeup, and dolls, of course. I am also watching a lot of creators here on YouTube. Not only doll channels, but painters, diorama builders, cosplayers, photographers, miniatures and resin figurine painters, etc., etc. To pick favorites among all the doll customizers that I follow, but I will name a few. So Earth Delilah, obviously. Without her figurines I wouldn't be where I am now. Crane's Creatures, also great doll figurine maker with a hand for details. I am jealous. Etalon, probably my favorite to watch. Her videos are so well made. The footage and the editing style is so calming and eerie. Just pure art. Just like her wonderful dolls. Nerdy Capybara, my spirit animal. Great sculpting skills and my kind of dark aesthetic. Telly Dollies and Diamansa Craft. The super clean finish of their dolls taught me that patience with the most tedious parts of the project can be very rewarding. Enchantarium, because I really enjoy both their designs and execution. Pixie because she's the best Monster High seamstress that I saw on this platform. Her outfits are so detailed and so neatly finished. And last but not least, Moonlight Jewel, for the beautiful BJDs that she printed herself and the most colorful outfits. About collabs. I only collaborated with Tel from Telly Dollies and Sarah from Diamonsa Craft, and it was a great experience. I think that most doll customizers here on YouTube don't really see me as a potential collab partner though. Maybe it's because of the figurine form that I chose. Maybe because I am not a family-friendly channel. Maybe they just don't like me or have no idea that I exist. Not that many collab invites for me. Nonetheless, there will be some interesting collabs in the future, but no spoilers. I would really love to collaborate with Nerdforge, North of the Border, or Bobby Duke's art in the future, but the chance of those happening is almost non-existing. I am small, they are big, and none of them being a doll channel makes it even less likely. I just answered those questions in my last video, but in case you haven't watched it yet, the kitty litter and wood glue technique is something that I came up completely on my own. I haven't seen it anywhere before I tried it out. The premise behind it was that I wanted a grainy texture on my stand to imitate soil. And we, the cat people, always have some kitty litter at home. So I took a handful and mixed it with wood glue, because what can be better to fix the kitty litter on a wooden brick than a wood glue? I had no idea that the mixture will expand. I guess it's just a thing that this kind of wood glue does. Mind that there are two types of wood glue. The one that I'm using here and the Vicol one. I chose the one that is waterproof and that is more solid when cures than the other one. At the end, I like the expanding property of the mixture, and I improved the process a lot since I first used it in my very first doll project. There's only one answer to all of those. One rabbi will say yes, and the other rabbi will say no. So maybe in the future, who knows? Are you pagan, or the other stuff that I don't know how to pronounce, or witch, or something like that? I don't want to disappoint you or anything, but I am the least spiritual person that you will probably ever encounter. Personally, I am a realist, and both my feet are sturdy on the ground. I trust the science, hard facts, and evidence. As a crafter, I can enjoy an aesthetic of something without really believing in it or feeling some sort of a deeper connection to it. I like to say that I am shallow as a puddle. Shallow as the opposite of being deep, not in a self-absorbed meaning. In Polish it sounds more obvious. I even don't really like calling myself an artist. I prefer crafter because of the energy that the word artist has. The spiritual, emotional, light-headed, looking for deeper meanings behind visible things. Those characteristics just don't really describe me. So no, I am not religious in any way, and I do not believe in magic, even though I create magical creatures for my imaginary world. But that's what it is for me, an imaginary stuff. Of course, I have no problems with people believing in such things. Those are in fact pretty interesting topics. Do you believe in fairies, mermaids, centaurs, etc.? Have you seen a fairy before? I feel like you have. My previous answer will also answer this one. I do not believe such creatures are or were on our planet. I deeply believe that people just made them up, just like I am making up my own magical, fantastical characters. To get out from a boring reality into a fantastical imaginary world. But I do know the difference between my imagination and reality. Sorry for being such a normie. What country are you from? I am from Poland, so the language that I speak every day is Polish. Are you from a country with Cyrillic alphabet? No, in Poland we use Latin alphabet with some Polish letters like ż, zi, ci, ły, ni, on, u, shi. I personally don't know how to read Cyrillic, and I do not know many people my age or younger who does. My parents had to learn Russian language at school as a second language, so they learned Cyrillic as well. But my generation didn't have that anymore. We have English and German. How old are you? I'm 36. Are you married? If yes, how long? Do you want children? That's a bit personal. Yes, I have a husband. We got married 3 years ago. We don't have children yet, but we wouldn't mind. But I am kind of old, so you know. Que sera sera, I guess. Is your sister / other family members as artistic as you are? My sister was always better at art than I am. But she's also very smart and was always great at science, so she chose dentistry. And she's making very pretty and natural looking teeth restorations. My mom always wanted to do art but never had time, and my dad knows how to draw a simple cat. My husband, however, has a lot of true artists in his family tree, but he is not really into creating art himself. Do you have a happy place in your mind where you go to when you're being stressed? What does it look like? In fact, I have. Other than art, do you have a hobby that you are equally passionate about? I really love video games, especially the bloody and fantasy ones. What other mediums / forms of art do you like? I still have a soft spot for photography, makeup and costume making, but I kinda lost my passion for it and I'm still waiting for it to come back. I'm trying to learn how to draw, and me and my husband recently started to building and painting our own army for Warhammer 40k. He chose Necrons, I chose Tyranids. But my doll projects are taking most of my creative time, unfortunately. Did you make the animation at the beginning of your video? If not, who did? As it's mentioned under each of my videos, the animation was made by my friend Marta Sroka. We used to work together in a theater, she as an actress and me as a makeup artist. She lives in Germany now and makes animations in her spare time. In fact, you can watch her in a Netflix original series Cleo, where she plays Anya, the pregnant partner of the main character's ex. How did you get the animated character of yourself that you have in your intro? Did you draw it yourself or commission it? I did it myself. I wish I had better skills for that. Do you have a story for the world all of your fairies exist in? Would you ever write it down? I am an ass of a storyteller. My imagination is vast, but it stops at character design. But maybe with the help of my husband, who is amazing at coming up with stories as our D&D campaign game master, I will be able to create some sort of a field guide, maybe. I don't know. What is your mom's favorite doll from your fairy collection? Good question. More for my mom though. So let's ask her.
No hej.
Cześć mamo. Kręcę teraz tego Q&A, gdzie odpowiadam na pytania widzów i pytają się, która z lalek jest twoja ulubiona?
Która jest moja ulubiona?
No, którą lalkę ode mnie dostałeś i lubisz ją najbardziej?
A tu mi zadałaś pytanie. Wiesz co, że nad tym się nie zastanawiałam.
No przykro mi, musisz się zastanowić teraz.
To znaczy, moja ulubiona.
Krótka piłka, mamo.
Ale kukuszki, osuszki są, no wszystkie są piękne. Moje wszystkie. A moja wróżka zerfuczka, no jak nie? Że ja mam swoją ulubioną, no mi się wszystkie podobają.
Po prostu wybierz jedną.
Wszystkie podobają. Mnie się wszystkie podobają, nawet te, których nie mam. A syrenki, rybki, no piękne.
Bardzo mi miło, ale musisz jakąś wybrać.
No taka, może kaktusiarka, ale ja wiem.
Okej. No, okej. Dobra, czyli ogólnie wszystkie, ale najbardziej kaktususzka. Dobra. Dzięki, mamo. Buziaczki. Pa, pa. So, here you have it. What's your favorite color? Black. I know. It's not a color, it's a lack of colors. What is your favorite mythological creature? An honest politician. I noticed a chameleon on your head in your intro drawing. Do you have a pet chameleon in real life? If you do, what's their name? I used to have an amazing pet chameleon when I started my photography business. His name was Incognito and he was kinda my muse. What is your favorite bat breed? There's only one favorite bat.
I'm Batman.
Do you have drawing skills? I wish, but sadly no. Why did you leave the movie makeup business? The movie industry in Poland is not really that big. You need good connections to get there, and back then I didn't know anyone who could pull me in. I also never believed in my skills, to be honest. And I am not the they will throw you out the door so you will come back through the window type of a person. My earnings in the theater were so horrendously low, and I didn't know anyone who was working in the industry, besides actors maybe, who didn't struggle financially. It is not like in Hollywood by any means. At least it wasn't back then, and at least for me. And I just wanted to be able to create and make a living out of it. It was a paradox of a very simple decision that was pretty hard to make. Whatever happened to your dentistry school? Do you work as dentist or did you not follow that path? Correction. I never studied dentistry. I was studying to become a dental technician. When you are a dentist, you are a doctor. The studies are very similar to study medicine. Dental technicians don't treat patients. Dentists are working with people. They are making root canal treatments, fixing cavities, provide extractions, etc. While technicians work in labs and they do not have to see a patient in person. They just work with the impressions that the dental office is sending to them to create an artificial restorations, like veneers, crowns, bridges, or dentures. I finished my school and I got my diploma, but I quit my job at a lab to take a leap of faith and focus more on my pretty small back then YouTube channel. For now, no regrets, to be honest. I still work 1 or 2 days per week in our family dental clinic as an assistant or at registration, just to help my sister and my mom that are dentists. Do you still cosplay? I do not have time for such time-consuming hobbies anymore. I am focusing strictly on my figurines now. What is the worst advice you have ever gotten? Focus on one thing only. You can't be good at a lot of stuff at once. I got this advice when I was doing my photography projects, where I was making makeup, hair, photos, costumes, and editing all by myself. If I would focus only on my photography skills or my makeup skills and leave the costume designing part to someone else, it would be so much harder for me to start doing what I am doing right now. You never know which skill can come handy in the future. New things are refreshing to me and they keep me going creatively. That advice that I got back then might be good for some people, but it just wouldn't work for me. I am just too eager to learn and evolve. I'm sorry, but those were the questions that I don't really feel comfortable answering. Don't know if it's just a Polish thing, but talking about your income or your financials at all with strangers on the internet is just not something that you do. First of all, the answer to those questions won't help you. Mind that crafting is my job for over a decade now. I am not a collector type. I do not travel a lot. I do not have other expensive hobbies. Don't buy jewelry or clothes from expensive brands. I do crafts and I spend my money on that. Do you know what I get for Christmas and birthdays? Guess. And to be honest, you don't even need all those stuff that I have. Knowing about my spendings, small or big, won't help you with your art. They won't even give you a clear perspective on how much money do you need to do what I do. There are cheaper and more expensive ways than mine. You need to figure it out on your own. Okay, I guess this video is already way longer than I anticipated. I wasn't able to answer all of the questions, but I hope that I tackled most of them. Feel free to leave a comment under the video if you have any thoughts. Once again, sorry if I looked or sounded weird today. Talking to a camera, especially in a language that you are not as fluent in as you would want to be, is not an easy task. But I do hope that you enjoyed this Q&A and maybe learned a thing or two about me and my art. This video was quite different, but new figurine projects are on their way, so remember to subscribe to my channel if you don't want to miss them. I hope that we will do that again in the future, and maybe I will be more relaxed and less anxious next time. For now, thank you guys for watching and see you soon! Cenzura.